everybody, it's Chris from the Evermore podcast, home Newcastle United podcast, and we're back with a post-match review of today's 0-0 draw with Manchester United at Old Trafford, a hard-fought draw for the lads. We're going to get stuck right into this in a minute, just cover some of the key parts of the game in just a brief video. But before we do, a little bit of housekeeping. If you haven't already, please click the like and subscribe button. We'd love you to come and join us. We're sitting on 1894, I think, at the minute, so we're only 6 off at 1900. Please smash the button if you haven't. All free content. There's 2 live shows, Mondays and Wednesdays. And lost track of the days there. And then pop-up videos just like this as well to keep you going, all your Newcastle United chat. So let's get stuck in then. So we went down to Old Trafford, as I said in the preview, probably the first time in a long time, with just no fear, really, loads of confidence. You know, off the back of 2 really astounding wins, 9 goals in 2 games, first time since the 90s, playing with confidence. You know, players walking around with their chests out. You know, and we're very much, you know, considered, I suppose, a top 10 team, if not even a top 6 team by a lot of people outside of Newcastle this season. So this was a real litmus test as to how we would cope going into this game. So we're just going to have a look at the team sheet. So there was a bit of disappointing news. I know when I did my preview, this was before the news of St. Maximin struggling. He's going to miss these 3 games in this 1 week, as well Alexander Isak, which is a bit of a blow. Not sure exactly what that is, but apparently they've had a bit of an injury setback. So poor Craig Hope has been the harbinger of doom. Might see Craig walking around Newcastle with a black cloak and a scythe, the way he's going on, bless him. But yeah, it's not great news. But this is the team that started. So Joe Litton came back into the side. Joe Willock dropped out because apparently he'd been poorly. So it was a midfield of Bruno Guimaraes, Sean Longstaff and Joe Litton coming back. Jacob Murphy and Miggy kept their place alongside Callum Wilson up front. Bit of a strange one was Dan Burn continuing left back. We all kind of thought Matty Targett might come in with Manchester United's pace, with Anthony one side and Sancho the other. It was a bit of a risk. I was a bit concerned about Dan Burn going in this game because he's not got the best pace. Good positioning sense, I must admit, but pace-wise is a bit of a concern. But do you know what? As the game kind of played out, he didn't do all that bad. He got a yellow card. I thought he held his position quite well. He overlapped a couple of times as well, to be honest with you. But I think all in all, you know, a 0-0 draw is definitely a fair result. I don't think Manchester United had enough to win it, and we certainly didn't seem to have enough to take our chances. But, you know, looking at the game, the key moments, the first half, I mean, we started the game so brightly. We weren't scared of them. We went at them. You know, they kind of came at us, but we defended really well. I thought Kieran Trippier was absolutely fantastic today against, you know, different variations of players. You know, he marked Sancho really well at the game. Ronaldo drifted over there. He had him in his pocket as well. Ronaldo is still Ronaldo, but he looks a bit of a busted flush. He doesn't really work in this setup. And there were some really bad parts of Ronaldo, which I'll come back to in a minute. But I suppose the key parts of the first half really were broken into 2 different sections. I mean, the first one is Joe Linton hitting the bar and then hitting the post consecutively, a split second after each other. So a cross comes in from Kieran Trippier, a brilliant cross, floated ball. I think after an initial attempt, he floats. It was a free kick. Sorry, it was a free kick. He hit the wall, come back to him. He dinks over this beautiful pass. Joe Linton just neck muscles, boof, over the top of De Gea, beats him all hands down, hits the bar, comes back out to Joe Linton, and he heads it straight as he probably could head it. But he's looking right at the post. So he hit the ball and the post. Now that's us hit the post 9 times this season. So I think that's us the most unluckiest side really in the league so far, even though we're still sitting in 6th position, which is an incredible feat for the lads. But that was a massive part of the first half, and so was the penalty shout. Now, for me, I don't know how you guys see it, but for me, it's a penalty, right? So Callum Wilson gets the ball on the edge of the box. He kind of wriggles between 2 players. I don't know if he's going to actually catch the ball that he plays, because I think there is a covering defender, but Varane comes in and kind of knees him in the side of the leg as he's running and knocks him off his stride. So Wilson goes down. To me, that's a penalty. It's a cast iron penalty, in my opinion. And the ref goes to VAR, he looks at it, and then they just wave it away and say it's not a penalty. Now, we'll come on to why that's not a big issue in a minute. But for me, you can't. It doesn't matter whether, you know, Varane's not the guy who's going to tackle him and somebody else can tackle him. You can say that for a red card. You can't send Varane off if there's another defender potentially can come over and cover. But if a guy runs past you and beats you in your knee in the leg and knock him off his stride, that's a penalty to me all day long. So I felt a bit aggrieved on that one. And I think Eddie Howe and Kieran Trippier did as well, because when you saw them coming down the tunnel for the second half, Trippier was in the ref's ear, as was Eddie Howe. Not in an aggressive way, unlike our opponents, which I'll come to in a second. So they were obviously asking the question as to why that wasn't a penalty. So yeah, it's beyond me. It really is. But we went in 0-0 half time, probably feeling a bit, aggrieved. We should have really been 1-0 up. I don't think Manchester United had a great deal of offer. Ronaldo broke free and kind of lobbed over the top of Pope. I think it was offside, but defended it quite well anyway. I think Botman did really well against Ronaldo in that first half. He didn't really get much of a kick. Anthony obviously didn't get much change down the side, and Sancho the same. He kind of huffed and puffed a bit. He made some good runs. He cut back inside, but there was nothing really massively that was going to trouble Nick Pope. Steady away saves from really. So we'll go at the first half. Like I say, feel a bit aggrieved not to be 1-0 up. Come out in the second half, and I think we started quite brightly as well. Manchester United seemed to have woken up a little bit in the second half. They were a bit more on the front foot. We had to bed in a little bit and defend quite resolutely. But I thought we played really well. I thought the midfield dealt with it really well. I thought Joe Linton was brilliant. He was everywhere. Obviously, he's really unlucky not to score in the first half. But he covered the ground. He tackled really well. Bruno was getting in the mix as well. We were very lucky not to give a penalty away ourselves in that second half, which Sean Longstaff tracks back. I can't remember which order this was in, but Sean Longstaff tracks back. And I'm trying to remember who it was. It possibly was Bruno Fernandes, maybe, or it could have been Anthony. But he checks back inside, and Sean Longstaff for me sticks his leg out, catches him, and that's a penalty as well. And we got away with one there because they checked VAR as well and didn't give that as a penalty. So I think you got to look at the consistency there. They don't give the one in the first half, which they should have done, and they don't give the one in the second half, which they should have done as well. So that's kind of balancing itself out. I think the referee handled that one quite well, to be fair. But there was some nasty tackles going around, to be fair. I mean, our Bruno caught Bruno Fernandes with a strong tackle, I would say. But then, shortly after that, Bruno Fernandes, who is a bit of a shithouse, comes in, studs down, stamp on Bruno's foot. And I thought that was a bit naughty. And then you had Casemiro, I think. He puts a good challenge in first instance, I think, against Joe Linton. And he comes in really heavy on Ryan Fraser, and really over the top, actually. That and in another game, another ref, that could have been, a red card. But it was quite an aggressive challenge. But, I thought we were really strong in the game. We stayed in the game really well. They didn't really have a lot to do. There was a really funny moment, actually, when so the free kick comes. I think Fabian Schär rolls it back to Pope to take the free kick, and the referee's still standing with his hand up. And there was a little bit of a pause, and Cristiano Ronaldo gets the ball, totally unchallenged by Pope, runs and puts it in the back of the net. Old Trafford goes wild. And then the referee says, well, no, that's not a goal. And the entire Manchester United team surrounded the referee, a bit like the 90s when you had Roy Keane and, Beckham and Scholes and all them not moaning at referees, bullying them to make decisions. And fair play, the referee stood strong. He just told them what to piss off. He said, no, I'm not interested. That goal didn't stand, and rightly so, because it was ridiculous. It really was. I mean, the referee was still holding his hand up before he blew his whistle. So obviously Pope and Schär knew the ball wasn't in play. So that was just how desperate Ronaldo was for a goal. As I said, I think he was poor. To be honest with you, I love Ronaldo as well. I've loved what he's done in his career, but I thought he was poor. You can see why he's not really being used by Manchester United a great deal. I think he disrupts their style of play. I think when Rashford come on, he probably give him a bit more of a dynamic. He's very unlucky with the header at the end of the game, Rashford. I'll come back to that in a second. But I think, I think Ronaldo's done at Manchester United. I really do. I think as a team, they look like they've moved on from him. I'm sure he'll go off and score 20, 30 goals in another league until he retires. But I don't think he's going to be at Manchester United much longer. I was shocked if he's there after January, to be honest with you. But the bit I don't like about Ronaldo is he gets subbed off and he's shaking his head in absolute disgust at being substituted. Rashford's looking them all awkward. He comes off. He's shaking his head on the bench. He, begrudgingly, shakes Eric Ten Hag's hand, and this is exactly what PK means when he says no dickhead policy. That is a monumental dickhead right there. Yes, you've scored 700 club career goals, and yes, you're a legend and you're a world-class player, or you were a world-class player, but you've been shit all day, mate. So just take the sub and go, like anybody else would do. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so as I said, we made some subs as well. I think we kind of looked like, I wouldn't say we were playing for the draw, but I think Eddie Howe was happy with the draw. Going back to obviously getting on our next game against Everton at home on Wednesday. But yeah, so that chance at the end, I was a bit concerned because there was a couple of moments where, when Nick Pope come flying out of his goal, and Rashford nicked it round him, and I just thought, what the hell is he doing? puts the ball into the kind of area, and we clear it, and then we just get caught a bit flat-footed at the centre halves, and the ball comes in. Rashford's got to score really, and he fluffs the header. We're quite lucky he was a bit cold in the game, and he's a bit of a player with a identity crisis as Rashford. Doesn't know whether he's a left winger or a striker. He keeps getting played through the middle. He wants to play on the left. So, thank God he finished like one of those, and we managed to take the draw. I think we were good for the draw. If that chance had gone in the first half, we probably could have won. But yeah, overall, I'm quite happy with the game. Good performance. The lads really hung well with what you would call a top 7 steady away side. Probably should be pushing for Champions League, Manchester United, with the money they've spent as well and the expectation on them in the summer. I think this was a good litmus test, as I said on Wednesday, as to where we are as a club and where we're going. And if you think we've come into this game, just a point I didn't mention there in the lineup, sorry, John Joe Shelby back on the bench was great to see. Really glad John Joe's back in the picture. But we're missing these players. We're missing John Joe. We're missing ASM. We're missing Isaac. We've had Wilson missing this season. We've had Bruno missing this season. They're best 5 players, arguably, we've got in the squad, really, and walking in the starting 11. And to go to Manchester United and play like that and be on the front foot and be dominant, without ASM, without Isaac and John Joe on the bench, I think is a hell of a testament. Willock being ill as well. It's a hell of a testament to how far the team has come and what Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall and the team have got out of this squad and the confidence that they've built. It's we go to these games now. We go to Anfield, we're not scared. We go to Old Trafford, we're not scared. We'll go to the Emirates, we're not scared. We'll go to Spurs Stadium, we're not scared. Stamford Bridge, you name it. We're not scared of these teams anymore. As Eddie Howe said midweek in his press conference, we go to attack, we go to win. And it's just such a breath of fresh air compared to what we had previously for years and years of just mediocrity and being told just to be happy to be there and make the numbers up. We're here to make a difference. We're here to do something. Newcastle United this season. European football has got to be our aim. We've played a lot of the big teams already now, even with decimated squads through injury, and we're still there. We're still in the game. We're hanging in there. We're getting draws. We're getting wins. We're just losing games at Anfield. So for me, I really do feel confident about a top 7 finish this season. And come January, if we're still in the European slots, I do think we'll go big. I do think we'll chuck some money at the transfer window. There's been names mentioned already about Maddison and Diaby. 2 fantastic signings coming in for us. It really would be. So it's exciting times. So yeah, a great performance from the lads today. Like I said, if we just had a little bit more clinical edge, I think there was a couple of times where Longstaff makes the wrong pass and Murphy makes the wrong pass, and it's just these little bits of quality that those better players bring you that win you games like that. But all in all, we can't grumble too much. A 0-0 draw is a great draw at Old Trafford to go back, to Newcastle with. And then Wednesday we've got obviously Everton coming up. We won't be doing Evermore on Wednesday this week, guys. We're going to roll that into Thursday, so we'll cover both these games, in terms of what we thought and our kind of feedback from it with me and Mark and the lads on Thursday at 7 p.m. So make sure you tune in for that. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy. Bring on Everton on Wednesday. I think we've got enough to beat them. No new injuries to our top players here. Yes, we won't have Maxi or Isaac, but I think with the squad we've got there, I think we can beat Everton and get 3 points on Wednesday night at St James's Park. So this is Chris signing off. Let's keep supporting that team. We'll call United wherever you are. Have a few beers, enjoy that draw, get back to Newcastle safe. And as I mentioned at the start, if you like what we do, please click the like and subscribe button. We'd love you to come and join us. We're very close to 1,900 subscribers, and then we're going to push on that 2,000. We've only been going less than a year, so it's been a monumental effort from all the guys at Evermore, and obviously for you guys clicking that button as well and just giving us such positive feedback on what we do. We're going to keep doing it as long as we can, but it really helps the channel grow if you guys come along and click that button as well. So have a good night wherever you are, guys, and we'll catch you probably on Monday. What's going on with me and Mark? See you later. Cheers.